Hello, my name is Jan Gonzalez. I am a program coordinator with the University of California Cooperative Extension here in San Diego. I want to thank you and welcome you all for being here today. We appreciate your interest in conservation practices in our local production agriculture environments. I want to let you know that this webinar, is part of a series of events that we are partnering with the Resource Conservation District of Greater San Diego County to have time, a forum to provide information and discussion opportunities about different conservation practices in a variety of production agriculture systems. So we are look forward to having some conversation with you towards the latter part of the webinar. We've got 4 to 5 presenters to share some information with you quickly first, and then we'll have question and answers and discussion time at the end, like I said. In the meantime, I invite you to check at your toolbar at the end of your screen to see the different cues, buttons for bringing up the participant list and the chat box. If you do not see your actual name on the participant list, if you see your device name instead, we invite you to change that by clicking on the 3 dots to your name, or just typing in the chat box your name so that we know that you are here. And also, throughout the presentations, please go ahead and type in any questions or comments in the chat box, and we'll address all those at the end, like I said. So I do want to let you know that we are recording this event, and I think that's it for now. Sonia, I'm going to stop sharing. Do you want to go ahead and get started? Our first speaker will be Sonia Rios. She is our area subtropical fruit advisor and will be talking with us about mulch and weed management in citrus orchards.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Like Jan said, my name is Sonia Rios. I am the Subtropical Horticulture Farm Advisor in Riverside and San Diego County. I do deal with all types of tree crops, basically anything south of Bakersfield, citrus, avocado, dates, macadamias. I dabble in pitahaya. So basically any tree crop. And today I will be talking about weed control and how mulch is actually one of the management practices that we highly suggest. So first of all, we're going to start off, what is weed management? And the overall goal of weed management is basically to design the most appropriate method in a variety of situations that ensure a sustainable ecological system and a minimum influence of nuisance weeds. So basically we want to try to get the weeds out without harming the environment, people, or any other mammals, I guess you can say. And most people are like, well, what exactly is a weed? And basically a weed is a plant growing where it is not supposed to, a plant that's at a place. Even other crops can be considered weeds. For example, if you have wheat planted and the next season you decide to grow corn, and the wheat starts to pop up, guess what? That wheat is not supposed to be there, so therefore it is considered a weed. It's called a volunteer weed. And usually we try to stick to an integrated weed management program. You can see the diagram on the right side. There are several ways that we like to approach removing weeds. I'll go over more into that in detail. There's physical, cultural, chemical, biological. Biological, there isn't very many strong or very many ways you can do it. Biologically, there are a few bacteriums and fungus that can actually attack weeds, but there's nothing that can be used in mass production as of right now, whereas of the other ones you can. So why control weeds? Besides that, they reduce competition for light, moisture, and nutrients, especially down in San Diego County, how much the cost of water is. You don't want to be watering your weeds. You want to water your plants, something that's going to be producing for you. In that way, they can actually reduce yield and tree growth. They can actually stunt young trees. And they can serve as a host for diseases, vertebrates, and insects. That one I would really like to stress out because most of you guys know about the coyote population and how it's becoming a big nuisance. And coyotes love weeds, especially in orchards and vineyards. They actually dig their dens there. And one, you're a grower, you're doing irrigation, you can stumble across a den that can be dangerous, especially if there's pups involved. And of course, we all know that if there's coyotes, there's going to be pups. If there's pups, they're going to be chewing on your irrigation line for sure. So you want to go ahead and remove those. The same thing with gophers and voles and moles. They love weeds as well because that hides them from any hawks or any other birds of prey. So they tend to go where most of the vegetation is at. It can also decrease your land value. It can be hazardous to human, pets, and livestock. I'm sure you guys have seen them on your dogs, the foxtails. That can get pretty expensive when you get to the vet. And it's just aesthetically unpleasing to look at. No one likes a messy grove, and no one likes a neighbor that has a messy grove. And of course, there's the seed bank that you have to deal with. So every time you do not control the weeds, the seeds, the plants will go to seed. The seeds drop on the ground, and that is considered a seed bank. So you start collecting all these other seeds, and seeds can live for a really long time. We're talking about decades or even hundreds of years. So they can live there. And also, they can also be dangerous. They can ruin your line of sight or visibility and block signs and things like that. So there's a lot of reasons why you want to control your weeds. And of course, in weed science, preventative is better than the actual trying to control the weed. But control is required because weeds arrive without notice, especially when it rains or after an irrigation, and present before they are prevented. And plus, eradication requires long-term planning. Prevention is often overlooked as a method of weed control. However, it seems to be the most cost-effective method. It entails the use of such practices such as sanitation, spot spraying, or hand labor to prevent the source of weed. To control the weed population. And by removing the undesirable weed species prior to the seed development, which I was talking about, like I said, it can be disseminated by wind, mechanical transport, or equipment, especially when you jump from property to property. And what's also very interesting is that weeds can actually survive a mammal's digestive tract. So whether you have cattle, coyotes, birds, if they start eating weed seeds, they can actually poop them out somewhere and land on your property, or spread them even more in your property where you don't want them, because they can't survive the digestive tract. Most of them can. The strategies for vegetation management, like I said, there's biological, mechanical, which consists of mowing, pruning, burning, then cultural, which is control, burning, and mulching, which we're going to talk about right now. And then, of course, there's everyone's favorite, which is chemical control. It seems to be the easiest and sometimes the cheapest way to go. But that can also get you into trouble with herbicide resistance and tolerance as well. So you want to do a management approach by using different types of methods, and mulching is one of them. So most people are like, mulches, are they good or are they bad? You've heard both sides of it, and I'm here just kind of to talk about a little bit more when it comes to the weed management side. As you can see in this picture below, this is an area, this is beneath a citrus tree that has no mulch. You can see the weeds starting to sprout up. Because the soil is open to sunlight, it helps helps weeds grow and complete their life cycles. Mulches are used to help manage weeds in some organic production systems. The mulch provides a physical barrier on the soil surface and must block nearly all light reaching the surface so that the weeds which emerge beneath the mulch do not have sufficient light to survive. Mulch can also be very beneficial to maintain water and soil moisture in the ground, keeps temperatures down in the summer and up during the winter, keeps the moisture in, and ideal for beneficial bacteria. Other benefits includes it increases root growth, and also as it breaks down, it adds nutrients back into the soil. But let me just warn you about that one. You don't want to depend completely on your mulch for this type of nutrient management. You really need a nutrient management set in place. This just helps. It's like a little bonus on top of your nutrient management plan that you do have. It also increases earthworm activity, which is really good for the shallow root systems of most of the tree crops, and of course the feeder roots in citrus, and can be used for both organic and conventional grows. So when you apply mulch, there's a right way and a wrong way, and I've seen both many times in citrus. So you do not want to stack the mulch up against the citrus tree base or the trunk. You usually apply around the drip line. To the picture to the right, you can kind of see where the drip line is, the canopy area, how width of the tree. This can, if this is not done correctly and it does start touching, it can cause a root rot, which encourages pests and instigates certain citrus tree diseases, which you do not want. The most common one, which I see on a daily basis when people do try to use mulch as a weed suppressant, is Phytophthora. Phytophthora can cause a slow decline of the tree, especially in new plantings. The leaves turn yellow, and it's a very slow death. It can be as quick as a few weeks to a few years, and even the tree can live up to it. How I like to see Phytophthora is kind of like equivalent to a staph infection for people. You know how staph is all over the place, no matter where we're at. However, if you're in the hospital, if you're weak, if you're tired, you become more susceptible to it. And if you get a cut of some type, then guess what? You're going to be more susceptible to the staph infection. That's kind of like Phytophthora. Phytophthora is all over the place. And whether the roots get nipped because of gophers, or they get dug up by coyotes, or you use the dirty shovel, or whatever the case is, if you damage any types of roots or it becomes weak because you water too much or water too little, then your tree can actually get sick from this. What it does is it basically destroys the feeder roots of susceptible rootstocks, and then the pathogen infects the root cortex, which turns soft and then starts to separate and gets really mushy. If the destruction of the feeder roots occurs faster than they can regenerate, the uptake of water of nutrients will be severely limited. The tree will grow poorly, store energy reserves will be depleted, and production will decline. The most tolerant rootstocks are trifoliate orange, swingles, citramelo, centrange, alimo, and sour orange, which is probably the most popular and which probably what most of the trees sit on today. Here's just a couple more photos of what Phytophthora can look like when not applied correctly. You see the picture to the left, you see the roots being exposed here, and that's another reason why mulch is really, really good. In addition to suppressing weeds, it can also cover the feeder roots as well. It can start oozing and leaking, and a citrus tree, you're never supposed to look through it. The leaves are supposed to be on it all the time. The leaves are never supposed to fall. So once you can start looking through a citrus tree, then you start having some problems there. So that is the end of my quick presentation. I hope I didn't go over my time, but just the importance of what mulch can do and how it can help citrus. And even for newly planted trees, it's highly, highly suggested that it is used, especially down here in Southern California with the hot extreme weather that we've been having, as well as if we do dip into a certain amount of freeze, this will also protect your trees because it will also keep the warmth in with the root system. So I highly encourage any type of mulching when it comes to your citrus.
Thank you, Sonia.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was great. I know it was a quick overview, but I thought you touched upon a lot of great information there.
Thank you.
If you have any questions for Sonia or comments, please put them in the chat box. Now we will, I'd like to introduce Ali Montazar. He is the irrigation advisor for the Imperial and San Diego County UC Cooperative Extension, and Riverside too, I believe. And he's going to talk with us about irrigation strategies and systems. And Ali, are you ready to share your screen? Maybe he stepped away. Ali, are you there? Okay, he might have had to step away for a moment. Isabel, are you available to present now? Or
Ali's back.
Ali.
Yep.
Ali, are you back?
Oh,
Are you there?
not
No.
sharing.
It's not sharing?
No. I think something.
Yeah, we don't see you.
Yeah, I think something is wrong. I cannot share my screen.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I need to do something here.
Start my video.
I'm not seeing why.
Yeah, I cannot start my video for some reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But
I think
Can you share your screen?
I can share my
Can't
screen,
share your screen.
but I
Okay.
cannot.
Start the video.
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure why.
So can you see it now?
I can see your screen.
Oh,
Yep.
but let me, because I have sound, let me share it again to make sure it works well.
Okay.
Okay.
There you are. Okay.
So do you want me to start?
Yes, please go ahead and go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Janice, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ali Montazar. I am irrigation and water management advisor in Southern California, covering Imperial, Riverside, and San Diego County. I think all of us know about the importance of water conservation and its relationship with efficient and precise irrigation management. For citrus, efficient irrigation means, or the requirements for efficient irrigation means we need proper irrigation system design and installation and regular maintenance. but we also need proper irrigation scheduling and applying adequate water to match applied water and water needs. I will talk about what water needs means just in a minute, but we also need to think about, for drought, we think about some water stress sometimes because of water shortage. Of course, none of us like to do some water stress with the crop, but sometimes we need. I think the point is, if we need to do some deficit irrigation, we need to do it in less critical periods of citrus, which are fruit maturing stage and after harvest, not in critical periods, which are flowering, fruit set, and fruit development. That's the point here. For drip irrigation, we always see plug, emitter, hose screen, and valves. They are very common issues with drip system, and it causes some pressure and flow rate variation, and as a result, lower water distribution uniformity. So if we do regularly check the pressure, water pressure and flow rates, perhaps we can manage this issue and improve water distribution uniformity. But the question is how water distribution uniformity may affect our irrigation system and watering or orchard. So here I have an example to talk about water use efficiency and the importance this parameter has. We have two orchards here. In the left side, orchard 1, on the right side, orchard 2. The only difference between these two orchards is the water distribution uniformity. The same age of trees, the same soil type, the same irrigation system. The only difference is DU, or distribution uniformity. So the orchard 1 in the left side has distribution uniformity of 70%. The other orchard in the right side has 90%. And we did a test here to see, in different parts of the orchard, how much water we applied. Please look at the left side of this slide, orchard 1. So you see in the north side, we applied 0.7 inches. In the south side, we applied 1.42. The target amount of applied water was 1 inches. So you see how difference, between the north and south and different parts, we applied water. Across the orchard 1, we have 0.72 inches differences between the applied water. If we go with orchard 2 on the right side, so we see on the north 0.9 inches and the south 1.12 inches. And the reason is because there is also some slope here, but not too much. So in the right side, orchard 2, the variation is 0.22 inches. The entire season, these two orchards needed 40 inches water. What we did in these two, so we run the system 444 hours for the 90% orchard and 571 hours the entire season for the 70% distribution uniformity orchard. And as a result, we applied 44.4 inches in the orchard 2 and 57.1 inches in the orchard, which has lower distribution uniformity. This is the result. We basically applied 40% more water in orchard 1 just because of the lower water distribution uniformity. We could conserve that water if we could improve the water distribution uniformity. This is the big impact of water distribution uniformity. So on the sloping land, so water distribution uniformity even is worse because of the variable water pressure we have between bottom and the top of the orchard. On the top, we have low pressure. On the bottom, we have higher pressure, which means the significant difference between the pressure of the system. Besides that, one of the other issues in sloping lands is the row orientation. If we have a sloping citrus orchard with a sloping of south or west, so that orchard gets more net radiation, and as a result, the evapotranspiration or water needs of the plant is higher. If we have east and north facing orchard, so that orchard needs less water. This is the reason if we want to manage water pressure in the sloping land. This is the solution. We need to create as many different irrigation blocks as possible. That's the main point. So we need, to put them in different valves for the top one valve, for the middle, for the bottom, for the field with the sloping different valve. If we put the orchard in different valves and blocks, we should be able to increase water distribution uniformity. For the young trees, we can reduce the wetted area because their root is not well developed. There is no need for, I will talk about the water requirements of young trees. So there is no water needs for those crops. We can go with different microjet. We can shorten the run time. We can even put a mulch on the wetted strip to reduce soil evaporation, because soil evaporation is a non-beneficial water use. As long as we can reduce it, we can improve efficiency. And of course, we should eliminate water runoff in any way we have in the field with different means and management practices. When it comes to irrigation scheduling, which is very important for citrus crop, citrus is evergreen tree, which means it needs water the entire season, the entire year. Part of that water comes from rainfall, but the majority comes from irrigation. And that's why we need a proper irrigation scheduling to improve the irrigation efficiency. We need knowledge, specifically on soil moisture content or soil water status and crop water requirements or evapotranspiration or ET. This is the actual ET I measured last year for a 7-year lemon orchard in the desert. So as you can see, different amount of ET in different days, but less in winter than the other months of the year. So which means we need to go with what crop needs over time. And if we can develop a real-time calculation for ET, we can do a great job for irrigation scheduling. This is a graph I put for soil moisture content in different tree depths, 6 inches, 12 inches, 18 inches. If we have these graphs, we can retrieve a lot of information for a good irrigation management. Just look at this is for 10 days. So as you can see, in the depth of 6 inches and 12 inches, so the water content is very low. This soil is sandy, so which means we don't have that much water in the top. And we did one irrigation event, heavy irrigation event right here. So you can see we have a jump and here, but because of sandy and heavy irrigation, you can see even we affect the soil moisture we had in 18 inches depth, which we don't recommend, because citrus, they are very shallow rooted, they're actually the effective crop root zone is very shallow. It's about 18 inches. So if we cross or pass the root zone, which means we are losing water, it was better this grower did a better, more frequent irrigation and light irrigation events in this field. So for improving irrigation management in terms of irrigation scheduling, we recommend ET-based irrigation, which means we need to follow what crop needs or ET and monitor soil moisture at the same time. For ET calculation, there is equation, very simple equation. Kc multiply ETO. ETO is coming from a CMIS station. Very simply, we go and choose the closest CMIS station to our orchard. And on daily basis, we can retrieve the ETO from the CMIS station. Kc is crop coefficient, is individual for each crop. I will talk about this for citrus, but it depends on the soil type, canopy, the age of tree, irrigation system, watering program, all those, and it's very complicated. But we try to make it very simple with numbers. So this is a CMIS station. We can go to receive the ETO from CMIS. But one other tools specifically for San Diego County, because San Diego County has a very specific topography. We have We have a sloping land, we have mountain, we have orchard mountain. So which means it's not flat. A better tool to retrieve ETO for orchard is to use a special CMS. A special CMS basically integrate the CMS station data with remote sensing and topography. And every day, DWR, Department of Water Resources, develop an ETO map for the entire state of California with 2-kilometer resolution. Of course, your orchard is part of this map. So you can go there and retrieve the information, the ETO for your orchard, not from CMS station. They also develop a special CMS or a special report by coordinates. It's a tool they developed a few years ago. It's very user-friendly. You go there, you create an account for yourself, you provide an email, and all the coordinates of the orchard, you need ETO every day at 6 a.m. So Department of Water Resources send an email to you, include all the orchard you put, the coordinates, the ETO for all those orchards. It means you don't even need to go to CMS weather station or CMS website to look at the ETO. They send it to you and you can manage your irrigation by using this number. So this is the ET and crop coefficient I measure for a lemon orchard, for 3 lemon orchard at the desert at the given different age, 1-year-old, 3-year-old, and 7-year-old orchard for the entire winter. So look at what it says. It shows in different day, crop has different crop coefficient and different amount of water needs. But the main point is the crop coefficient for 1-year-old orchard and 3-year and 7-year are different. For 1 year is 0.66, for 3 year is 0.75, and for 7 year is 0.87. The other point is very interesting. The 7-year-old tree had 30% more water requirements in that period. So this is, if you have young tree doesn't need that amount of water, perhaps, based on this information I develop and I measure it, 30% less than a 7-year-old tree. So this is a research, the result research from San Joaquin Valley. It shows the crop coefficient for large canopy versus high density. You see for the large canopy, for oranges, the crop coefficient value is about 1. For high density but shorter trees is about 0.7. But as a general recommendation, the average crop coefficient we can use for trees less than 10 feet tall is 0.7. The average crop coefficient we can use for trees, for citrus trees, higher or taller than 10 feet is 0.85, which means, bigger or larger canopy needs more water. So I'm currently working, on developing some information for avocado, citrus, and a vineyard. But I did also some calculation to provide you some information about the differences, specifically in San Diego County, because we are in different zone, ET zone in this county. I just did calculation for a fall group, Escondido, Pine Valley to provide you some ideas. So this is the average monthly ETO for these 3 locations. Very interesting. The water needs just for July in Pine Valley is about 40% more than fall group and about 25% more than Escondido, which means if you have citrus in different part of the county, Pine Valley or fall group, you need to go with different irrigation scheduling, different irrigation plan. Just I did some calculation for lemon trees spacing 20 by 14 feet in fall group during July. So the crop needs 38 gallons per day per tree. In Escondido, about 43. And if you go to Pine Valley, is about 54 gallons per day per tree. This is a huge difference between different part of the county, I think we need to consider all this information for irrigation scheduling of citrus. So let's talk about soil moisture. Soil moisture sensors are very useful tool for irrigation citrus because they can answer critical question to us. No other tools can answer this question. How much or how is the water status of the soil in early season? This is the question all growers have for 3 crops. They want to know, when we get out of winter or, we are in the middle of winter, what's going on with our water status? When is the right time for first irrigation, the other irrigation? Is my soil profile full after each irrigation? Even this is a very important question. Or I need to still continue irrigation. 30 minutes, 1 hour, 45 minutes, which hours of irrigation, or at the end, does my practice need to be changed? They are all the questions a soil moisture sensor can answer to. So we have a bunch of soil moisture sensors on the market. Sometimes it's difficult for you to choose one, but this is my expertise. All those sensors, from the cheapest one to a more expensive one, they can answer this question. So you should not worry about which sensor you use because all can answer this question. The important part is how you install the sensor, how you maintain it, how you read it, how you interpret it, and how you use those data for irrigation scheduling. So they are very important, more important than choosing the soil moisture. We need to make it happy choosing, one soil moisture and use it for irrigation scheduling. So from here, a few days ago, I made this video for you specifically for this meeting. I went to a citrus in very hot day in Imperial Valley, 2 minutes away from the Salton Sea, and I made this video. So in this video, I'm talking about soil moisture sensors, and there's a demonstration about everything you need to know. Hi, in this video, I'm going to talk about soil moisture sensors and how we can use this tool to monitor soil water status. On this table, we have different type and brand of soil moisture sensors. Right here, we have watermarks and tensiometer. So watermark sensors is very common for agronomic crops and or field crops. Tensiometers are very common for horticulture crops. So both sensors are inexpensive sensors. They measure soil water potential or soil water tension, a measure that tells us how tightly water molecules are held by soil pores and soil particles, which means if we have a value of 0 centibar, it shows soil is saturated, and if the soil water potential is around 100, it says soil is dry. Here we have another group of soil moisture sensors. They measure soil volumetric water content. So they are more expensive than the first group, and they are very accurate sensors. Right here we have Acclima TDR, we have TROS 12 and EC5 from meter group. And here we have Soil View 10 from Campbell Scientific. The good thing with these sensors is at the same time they measure soil water content, they also measure soil electrical conductivity or EC and soil temperature, which means we have all those information, the entire probe. When we install these soil moisture sensors in an orchard or field, we also need to store and read the data. We typically use data logger for this task. There are different types of data logger. For watermark and tensiometer, we use watermark monitor 900M is very common, very user-friendly to use. For the other sensors we have in this table, we also can use EM50 from Meter Group company. We can use ZL6 and also Acclima Solar Data Snap. They are very user-friendly. Some of them even they have a very small solar panel on the top, which means, so their battery is rechargeable. For the other, we need to change the battery over time. Here I have two tensiometers. There are some differences between, but not much. There is a cap on the top, vacuum gauge. Here, we replaced the vacuum gauge with a wiring system to attach the tensiometer to data logger. For citrus orchard, it's recommended to install soil moisture sensors in multiple depth. We can go with the depth of 6, 12, and 18 inches, or install two tensiometers at the depth of 8 to 10 and 18 to 20 inches. So you open the cap. You put some water. We need to remove all the air bubble from the pipe, and we can use this vacuum hand pump to remove that bubbles. So you basically put this on the top and pump several times. So I will make the first probe here with 8 inches depth. I push down the sensors in the hole and make sure it's tight enough. On the top of this hole to make sure there is no crack or hole for water to get in. So with that, I'm going to stop my talk. I'm hoping during the next few months to develop more information about avocado irrigation management, citrus, and other crops in San Diego County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Really appreciate it. That was a lot of information. Appreciated you sharing. Next, I'd like to invite Isabel Garcia to join us. She is a civil engineer with the Natural Resource Conservation Service in the Escondido office. Now, just prior to our meeting, I think there were some troubles with her video on her computer, so we may not see her, but she is with us and happy to share some information about mulch and how it impacts water quality and other water conservation concerns. Isabel, let me see. I need to get you to unmute.
Okay.
There you are. Hi.
I'm Isabel Garcia, civil engineer, as Jan said, with the NRCS here at the Escondido field office, and I'll be presenting on mulch and its benefits for water conservation and water quality. So as we know, mulch is a protective covering of organic or inorganic material that's laid over soil around plants. So the NRCS provides a mulching practice known as the 484. And this mulching practice serves the purpose of improving the efficiency of moisture management, reducing irrigation energy, improving the efficiency use of water, of irrigation water, preventing excessive erosion due to stream shorelines, water conveyance, reduce concentration flow erosion, sheet, row, and wind erosion, as well as improving plant productivity and health, and helps maintain and increase organic matter content, as well as reducing emissions of particulate. So how does mulch help manage moisture? So mulch is supposed to, well, it does, reduce soil moisture loss due to evaporation. So a good way to remember this is by remembering that mulch reduces the E and ET, known as evapotranspiration. It's been shown that using straw mulch can save up to 35% of evaporation loss due to evaporation loss from the soil. So applying a cover of at least 90% on the soil surface can reduce the potential of evaporation. So here's a more visual representation of how mulch works. So a mulched bed over a soil protects the soil from direct sunlight, which prevents it from drying up, as comparison to a bare soil that gets direct sunlight and dries up, causing for moisture to be lost due to evaporation a lot quicker. Mulch also helps when there's rain events. By having mulch on our soil is moist and loosened up. So when a rain event happens, our plant is able to take in that rainwater and use it for its health and production purposes, in comparison to a bare soil when it's when it has received direct sunlight, it dries up. So when a rain event happens, that water hits the soil and is now runoff because the soil is too dry for it to take in that water and use it. So that is the way how irrigation water for farmers is saved, because the rain event could possibly save the farmer a day's worth of irrigation water, just by simply having mulch on the soil. So there's both organic and inorganic mulch. So organic mulch is said to conserve water more effectively and allow for soil water infiltration, as well as allow for more water retention. And that is by because the organic mulch slowly decomposes into our soil, providing it organic matter, which keeps the soil loose and eventually making soil able to infiltrate water and improve its water holding capacity. So here are a couple organic mulch materials that have been used. Straw this organic mulch breaks down easily. Wood mulch and newspaper, which is effective for suppressing weeds. Cardboard, which is also effective with weed suppression. Leaves, which are abundant when we have a citrus orchard. Grass clippings, which are also abundant and high in nitrogen. Pine needles, which allow for good water circulation. Drain hose, which also allow for good water circulation, and mineral nitrogens. So based on the organic mulch material used, here are some recommendations on how much to apply. For bark mulch, it's recommended to apply 2 to 4 inches of mulch, wood chips 2 to 4 inches as well, leaves 3 to 4 inches, grass clippings 2 to 3 inches, and newspaper 1/4 of an inch. For newspaper, it is recommended to use a cover such as grass clippings to ensure that the mulch is anchored in and it doesn't blow away. So inorganic mulch, although it lacks the soil improving benefits that organic mulch has, inorganic mulch is still widely used in commercial agriculture. Polyethylene is a popular inorganic mulch material. This type of mulch is beneficial for warm season crops such as strawberries, tomatoes, where the soil is kept warm underneath. If used properly, this gives growers a couple weeks head start. So that's also another benefit of using mulch. So when to apply mulch? It is recommended to apply mulch different times of the year, depending on the goal. So to moderate winter temperatures, the fall, before the coldest temperatures arrive is advised. And if you're adding mulch to an existing tomato bed, you want to wait till your soil is warmed up completely to add mulch. For vegetable and flower gardens, the springtime is the best time to add mulch. And if you want to moderate soil temperatures, summer mulch will keep the soils cooler, and the winter mulch will keep the soil from freezing as deeply. Here are some recommendations on how to apply mulch. So a minimum ground covering of 60% will allow you to receive the benefits of mulch, where 100% is also encouraged, depending on what goal the farmer is trying to reach. Mulch should be applied evenly at a depth no greater than 6 inches. The mulch should always avoid direct contact with the plant. We always want to keep 1 to 2 inches away from the plant to avoid root rot. And choosing an appropriate anchor and or tuck fire is also recommended to secure your mulch. So here are a couple pictures of how some farmers that have used the NRCS program to use mulch in the farms have applied mulch. The left picture, we could see green waste or grass clippings being used for flower bushes. And this picture, you can see how the mulch is only applied to a small area. And that is because the root zone of these flower bushes are pretty close to the plant. So the mulch is applied only in that area to ensure that the moisture stays within the root zone so that the plant benefits from it as much as I can. Where on the left side, we see that this old avocado tree has a larger canopy, meaning its root zone is a lot larger, and that's why the farmer used wood chips in a larger area to again ensure that when the water is applied to this tree, the mulch is helping keep that moisture within that root section, which is important. Here we can also see how in this vineyard, the mulch is applied through the whole row, and that is for both moisture content and root suppression. And on the other picture, we could see smaller trees where the mulch is has a smaller area closer again to that root section. You want to apply mulch closer to where you're applying the water so that the water savings has a benefit from adding that mulch. So mulch also helps reduce irrigation energy, as we explained how it's applied to the plant. It can reduce the amount of water greatly, but only if the crop is irrigated carefully and cautiously. So to do this, growers must measure soil moisture percentages and irrigate accordingly, depending on those observations that were made. Drip irrigation is one of the most effective ways of watering plants because that then emitters target a very specific area that then the mulch could be applied to that same specific area so that you receive benefits from it. A report by the Irrigated Waste Management Board revealed that using mulch on young avocado trees lengthened the time between irrigations from 10 days to 15 to 17 days, which translates to a water savings of 40%. And U.S. farmers in San Diego County that are irrigating with municipal water, that 40% is a big savings that we could have. So to receive those savings and to get those savings and see the benefits from mulch and conserving water, the NRCS also has a practice called Line Irrigation Water Management, where it consists of installing and adopting a system to develop soil water status graphs that the farmer could use to then change their irrigation schedule. And these graphs are developed using current crop water use and also moisture measurements, as well as the water application data. By monitoring their irrigation more closely, our farmer is most likely to see the benefits that come from adding mulch around the plants. So, although there is plenty of benefits with mulching, there are some challenges, and those could be whether the whole orchard is not mulched and only half of the orchard is mulched, and both sides of the orchard are irrigated at the same time. There's a chance of the mulch trees becoming overwatered, which can really affect citrus trees because the mulch keeps the soil moist for a long period of time. So the moisture has to be monitored closely to keep so that in order for the farmer to receive the full benefits of mulch growth and rot suppression. A couple other challenges are finding good quality of mulch. The NRCS has spoken to farmers, and they've shared that they've established relationships with tree trimming companies to drop off shredded plant material to their farms so that they receive top quality mulch. Another challenge would be the cost of applying. So for fields that are not too steep, a manure spreader can be used, but for those fields that are steep, which most of them are here in San Diego County, a lot of these farmers are doing hand labor to spread this mulch around their plants, which can be very time consuming and tedious depending on the size of a farm. Another challenge would be fire. Woody mulch burns for a long time and could affect the main stem of the tree. So that's why it is advised to always keep that distance between the tree trunk and the mulch. And gophers are also a challenge that some farmers have seen when applying mulch. We usually refer them to seek advice from a UC farm advisor. And lastly, nitrogen high up in the soil surface due to the high carbon nitrogen ratio of woody mulch has also been a challenge for some of the farmers. That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions that I didn't answer in the presentation, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Isabel. Really appreciate all that information. If you have questions for Isabel, please go ahead and put them in the chat box. We'll address them in just a few minutes. So next we have Esther Montazar. She is the UC Cooperative Extension. She's a statewide climate smart ag community education specialist based here in San Diego County and serves San Diego and Riverside counties. She's going to share a little bit with us about different funding assistance opportunities. Esther, let me see if I've got you muted.
Yes, thank you, Jen.
Oh, you're there. Okay.
I'm here. Yes, I'll be talking to you about the funding opportunities for growers and ranchers here in California, but rather in San Diego, but it will be the funding that is available for all the people in California. I will be looking at the CDFA funding, which includes SWIP, State Water Efficiency and Enhancement Program, Health Resource Program, which is HSP, and the last one is AMP, which is Alternative Manure Management Program. And I'll talk a little about the NRCS funding and the zero footprint, but my main focus or the way I help growers apply for the CDFA funds. And if you look in this page the white page that I'm showing you, my focus is in HSP alternative manure program and state water efficiency and enhancement. Other programs that are listed here, I'm not helping with those, but you can check them out. I have here the link of CDFA where you can see all the programs that they offer. So the State Water Efficiency and Enhancement Program is known as SWEEP. I have good news is that this year the governor have approved 40 million US dollars to fund the program or the grants for 2021. But the program started in 2014, and people who operate, who are agricultural operators in California can apply. And as of last grant, which was in 2019, 100,000 US dollars was awarded to one APN or one farm, and your projects should reduce greenhouse gases and they should save water. You have to do both. You cannot do one because when you do one, they don't fund you. You have to show both. About 835 projects have been funded so far, and about 81.1 million has been used since 2014. And you can see the difference. We are talking about 2014 to 2019, 81 million, but this year they have given a lot of money, which is about half the money that we were given since 2014. So we are really expecting that they're going to fund a lot of people this year or 2020, 21 to 2022. So if the growers are here who want to apply, I want us to start working on it now. Or if you are a farmer representative, let the information out there, or you just know a grower, just put the information out because we are expecting a lot of people to be funded this year. The funded projects include that which Ali was talking about, soil moisture monitoring. If that's what you want to input in your farm, they will fund you. They will pay for maybe soil moisture sensors. They will pay for the data loggers. They will pay for almost everything that makes this process automated. They fund for drip irrigations, switching from low pressure irrigation systems. They pay for pump retrofits, variable frequency drives, and installation of renewable energy to reduce on-farm water use and energy. So if you want to change maybe from a diesel pump to an electric pump, or from electric pump to a solar pump, they will help you pay for that. I'm talking about 2019. We are still waiting to hear what the requirements are going to be, but you need to produce 1 year of electric data, and you have to produce or give them your pump efficiency test for us to be able to calculate how much greenhouse gas you will reduce. So the timeline for SWEEP, we just got this, like we are monitoring CDFA website, and sometimes we have meetings with them, but this is what is out there currently. Right now, they are doing public comments. It's from September 2021. It will go on until October 2021. And then the announcement of, hey, you can apply will happen in October 2021 to December 2021. Review and awards October 2021 to January 2022, and projects will begin implementation will begin September, rather summer of 2022. And they have disclaimed here that this is subject to change. As you can see, we have a lot of overlap here. So I think they're still working on when this will really happen. But for SWEEP is really demanding. It's easy to apply, but demanding. So the more information out there, and it's the more you start collecting the information that you want to help you apply with. So I'm saying, reach out to me if you want to apply for this fund. So, and there is a Healthy Soils program. Also, good news, they have given 50 million for 2021. And just to let you know that last solicitation, the amount given was 18 million. So we are moving from 18 million to 50 million. So this is also a big jump. So we are expecting that a lot of people should apply for the fund too. It started in 2021. Farmers and ranchers using soil as a medium of growth can apply. As of last solicitation, 100,000 was given for incentive programs and 250 for demonstration projects. I just want to make a distinction between the two. Incentive program is where an individual farmer apply and then they are given funding to manage their land. But the demonstration projects you apply is kind of a research kind, where you apply with a farmer, in cooperation with the farmer, and you collect information that you can put out there to show how these programs are performing. I was seeing a question by Steven saying, do we have data? And so this is what they want to do. They want to collect data so that when you put it out there, people can look at the data and say, oh, this is working, this is how it's going to be beneficial to me. Because we cannot take maybe one project maybe from Northern California and bring it here and hope that it's gonna perform. We need some studies on that. The projects should reduce greenhouse gases. They should sequester carbon and improve soil health. The good thing, the good information about healthy soils is that they already have the practices that they want you to apply for. So you don't have to scratch your head and wonder, is it going to reduce greenhouse gas or improve soil health? You just have to go into that list and looking at your problem that you want to solve in your farm, pick the practice. There have been 456 projects to date, and a total of, from 2017 to last solicitation, 44 million. And these practices include, among others, cover crop, no-till, reduced till, mulching, and conservation planting. I have here a link of the incentive RGA request for grant application for last year to show you, like if you look at it, you'll see the many practices that they recommend, or the many practices that you can apply for. They even had like the amount of money that they can pay you per practice. So it is a good document to visit to know more about it. Also, we have the timeline. So public comments was happening from July to August. Public comment for draft program for September 2021. Announcement for funding will happen October 2021 to February 2022, and review October 2021 to March. Project will begin January of 2022. Last solicitation, they were doing first come, first serve. And for SWIP, it's not first come, first serve, but we are waiting to see what they're going to say this year or this solicitation. But I just want to put it out there for the Healthy Soils program that is first come, first serve. And I had a lot of growers last solicitation who had applied, and they have done everything that they could, but they couldn't get funded, even though the deadline was not met yet, because they were looking at, okay, 100 people have already taken the 18 million that was there. So I'm just really trying to reach out to you to, like, if you want to apply for this, let's start working on it, because the first come, first served rule would make you not qualify. Like, you'll get cut off, even though you have written the good proposal. So let's do it now, and then when the announcement comes, let's polish it and submit it so we can be on the queue, on the line for the first come, first serve. And then there's an alternative manure management program. We have never had one person in San Diego County or Riverside applying for alternative manure management program. So I'm putting it out to you. If you know any person who is rearing animals, who has to manage manure, let me know so we can work on the program. Also, it started in 2017, about 700. I mean, you get 750,000, and about 121 people got funded, and they had used about 70.6 million. We have not heard about this year if they're going to do it or not, but we are still waiting for that information. The project that can get funded is maybe using alternative manure treatment and storage, such as compost bedded park ban, or transitioning to a pasture-based system, or solid separation or conversion from flash to scrape with either solar drying, daily spread, solid storage, and composting. Other funding sources, I think Grace, Isabel can talk more on this, but NRCS equip, and then how does it work? NRCS and producers invest in solutions that conserve natural resources for the future, while also improving agricultural operations. So some people, NRCS people came to talk about us about EQUIP CIC, which is Conservation Incentive Contracts, which was opened this year, and it closed July 12th. The reason I'm bringing it up is, and they said they're open the whole year, like you can still work on it and submit. But the reason I'm talking about it is they need some things that can take you time to submit. So if you start working on it now, probably next year when they open it up, you'll be ready to apply. So this is the link to their website, so you can have a look. Zero footprint. I have some growers who did apply for the zero footprint and they got awarded. So they are giving up to 25,000 in grants. The minimum request will be 2,500. They're paying for the technical assistance, 15% of the technical assistance. And they said is the application is closed, but check back for information for 2021. So that is another grant opportunity that we are watching as of now, but yeah, go back to it and see if they're still open or not. And UCNR, Jen Gonzalez and team, they compiled a lot of funding resources. And so I have a link here, but we have about maybe 21 sources or 21 links where you can go in and look and see if some of the listed sources can work for you. But I just wanted to really highlight the Healthy Soils program and the SWIP program because the money is already there and anytime soon they might open. So again, this is a shout out that if you want to start working on this, email me and let's work on this. And I think on the 16th, 15th or 16th of next month, we are going to have a workshop, and this will be one of those workshops. We'll start the first workshop on SWIP program. Like we'll be going into detail about SWIP, what are the requirements, what all this. So it will be on the 15th of August. If you are interested, let me know or email. You can email Jen and let me know. I will share more details with you. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everybody.
So now we'd like to quickly move into our chat room, some questions. There's some questions that I've been collecting and I see some of them have been answered already, but let me see here. Would you suggest leaving any tree trimmings under the trees on the ground in the orchard to act as mulch? Well, like I just mentioned, some growers do that. I don't know all of our speakers. Do I need to unmute any of you if you have any input regarding that? Joel, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you as well, if you'd like to share. Oh, wait. Isabel, is that you? We're having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah, this is Joel here. I don't have a great connection for some reason, so I wasn't able to hear the question besides recommending leaving material that was resulting from pruning. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, in my opinion, what we've seen at our demonstration site is that is an excellent source of material. I think at the recent, but our site is an avocado orchard. The recent avocado field day at San Luis Obispo recommended something similar. So yeah, I'd say as much material as you can source from on site, whether it's from cover crops or hedgerows or the trees themselves, that's a great of great value.
Thank you, Joel. Isabel, did you want to try again? You were just really spotty earlier, but maybe it's better now.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't trying to say anything, sorry.
Oh, okay. I wonder who that was. Maybe Sonia? I'm not sure. I thought I heard someone else speaking. Okay, another question. Let me see. Craig asks, I would like to hear more information on the importance of the quality of mulches applied to citrus. And are there some mulches that are more beneficial than others? So I did mention about the flammability, but as far as other benefits and the quality of mulch, Sonia, do you have any information related to that?
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was on mute.
There you go. Sorry.
I'm trying to get out. Actually, no, I don't. That's actually a really good question, and that would actually be a really good project to look into to see. Usually, we just use there's a mix that if you buy it from a company, they usually have a traditional mix that they use for all horticulture trees. I don't know exactly what is in that mix exactly. But there is a standard that they do go by. I don't know if it's done, if there's a science behind that or not. But that's a really good question. And that's actually something that might be fun to look into, actually.
Okay. Great. Thank you. So Ali addressed this question in the chat box, but in case you missed it, just to give you, you can read the full answer there, but it was asked using mulch within an orchard to help decrease evaporation, keep soil temperatures cooler, etc. Is there any experience data on how much the irrigation demand could be reduced? And Alex answers that in the chat box. Like I said, it depends on soil types and irrigation practices. It's hard to come up with a specific number, but probably not likely to reduce less than 10%.
So
if we know how much, oh, go ahead, Ali.
Yeah, I will add a little bit more. Measuring evaporation is too difficult. That's why we measure or we estimate evapotranspiration, a combination of transpiration and evaporation. That's why that's the main reason we cannot come up with the exact number. But in Sacramento Valley, we measure evaporation from bare soil and compared with vegetation. So the bare soil evaporation, which is soil evaporation, is about 10 to 15% of ET around Sacramento Valley in 3 fields we measured. That's why I think we cannot reduce the total evapotranspiration even if we have mulch more than 10-12%. It depends on many factors. So specific soil type, it makes a big difference. But that's just estimation. We didn't measure it. It's still
Okay.
difficult. Even in the orchard, it's really difficult to separate soil evaporation from transpiration.
Okay. Thank you. Also, the kind of follow-up question to that was if we know how much mulch helps reduce evapotranspiration. In the video, it showed mulch was not being utilized, and Ali just explains in his answer that one, this is a grower down in Imperial Valley, and sometimes you have to make those choices, especially when you're talking about costs. Which systems, which practices are you going to adopt, or in the order? And so for this grower, the first priority was getting the actual irrigation system set up. Also, I do want to note that Steve put in the chat a link to a great article from a great biocycle about mulch and compost and costs associated, and potential cost savings. So it's regarding almond farm orchards, but it would be nice to see how that translates to orchards here in San Diego County. Thank you, Steve. So the next question I have, and then we'll probably wrap this up real quickly, as it is 4. Hello from Mexico. In my region, there are a bunch of pecan groves. I was wondering if the nut husk could be used as a reliable mulching material. Is there anyone who would be able to address that? I don't know if Sonia's still here. I know she had to leave a little early. Does anyone know about pecan nut husks as a mulch material? I will do some asking around about that and get back to you privately. But thank you for asking that question. Thank you for all who participated today. Thank you to all of our speakers, presenters sharing their information. Again, we invite you to give us your feedback at the survey link in the chat room. We invite you to check out any of the resources on our program website. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our program listserv, where we can keep you updated on new resources, on upcoming events and workshops and trainings and so forth. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Just checking the chat pod real quick. That's all I've got right now. So, oh, Annika just posted about nuts, husks. Some other nut husks have been used. So we'll follow up on that question, though. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, Jen.
Bye. Thank you.